Shannon
isn't available right now. Please leave a message after the tone.
I'm an introvert. I'm not shy, I just don't particularly enjoy the company of other humans. But lately, God's been calling out my so-called independence, and apparently even introverts need people. If you're an INTJ or a highly independent introvert, then you'll get this. Doing things alone isn't just preferred, it's a lifestyle. By the way, this thing is another ceramic item I bought in Thailand last year. Never used it. So I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't even know how much I'm supposed to put in here. Anyway, why ask for help when you can Google it for 3 hours at 2 a.m. instead? When I was a kid, my mum used to make this pickled eggplant all the time, and then I guess she stopped making it when I moved out. But I just remembered it the other day because I was obsessed with this stuff. So I asked her to make it, and I've been eating it with everything. Wow, I ground the coffee beans so well. Here's my breakfast, and I know it looks kind of sus, but if you haven't tried Italian pickled eggplant, put it on your to-do list. Something I don't think I've ever shown on my vlog before is that I have to change these ducks' water every single day. And if you watched my Life of the Duck vlog, then you would know ducks are incredibly messy and feral. They are not the cleanest kind of pet that you could choose. Far from it. And they're super noisy. I have to feed this goose by himself because he's kind of blind. And otherwise he won't get any food. Here's the thing about introverts. We secretly pride ourselves on being self-sufficient. I don't need help could probably be it probably is our unofficial slogan. But recently the priest said something in a homily that kind of wrecked my perfectly constructed island paradise. He was telling this story about when he was in the seminary. He was moving rooms or something, and he was struggling to carry these boxes up the stairs, and one of his fellow learning priests, I don't know what you call them, asked if he needed help, and he said no. And then he was struggling for ages because he was doing it by himself. So the same person asked him again, do you need help? And he said no. And then this person asked one last time saying, do you need help? And he said no, I can do it myself. And then the other guy was like, you're so proud. I'm asking if you want help, but you're too proud to accept it. By the way, how cute is this hoodie I made my son because he wanted a pale blue hoodie, and that's what I came up with. And anyway, when he was telling the story, I was thinking, wow, this is painfully relatable. Did someone tell him about my life? On a serious note, it made me think pride is really sneaky. It masks itself as self-reliance, independence, or just being really good at managing life. But what it really does is isolates us. God, frustratingly enough, did not design us humans to thrive solo. And trust me, I've double checked. And here I was this whole time thinking that I just didn't like people. It's about lunchtime and I have no idea what to eat, which is kind of great because I developed this binge eating, I don't want to say disorder, binge eating tendencies. And now I just don't really care about food, which is great because it's not on my mind all the time. And no, I'm not on Ozempic or anything. I think I've just eaten so much over the years, I don't really care about food anymore. Kind of like how I have this obsession with lollies, particularly sour lollies. And we had a church fete kind of thing the other week, which had small businesses. And there's this couple that goes to our church and they have a baking business. And they also sell freeze-dried candy. So in the spirit of supporting small businesses and all that, I bought 5 packs of freeze-dried candy, which is kind of a lot because they're so light. You think it's not much, but then you open it and there's actually more in there than you anticipated. But anyway, I ate a few pieces of each pack and I'm kind of over lollies now, which is also great. So now I'm just here squatting in my pantry, trying to work out what to eat. I think these newer generations place way too much importance, I don't know if that's the right word, but they basically live to eat, and I'm just trying to eat so I don't pass out because I'm just over thinking about food all the time. We're in the foodie era where the camera eats first and every outing is to do with food. Every social gathering revolves around food. And it's kind of tiring because you can only eat so much food before you get sick. I'm at that point in my life where I can just eat a bowl of pickles or something and that'll be fine. We do have leftover rice that was in the fridge, so I'm gonna have that with pickled eggplant. And while we're waiting for that to heat up, I'll tell you about my old YouTube channel, which was pretty much revolved around food. So it was a what I eat in a day. And do you want to hear a funny joke? I used to be vegan. So that's what it used to be about, and I think that's where I developed this binge eating habit because I was never full. I would deny this all the time, but I was never full as a vegan. And since I stopped being vegan, I was probably vegan for like 5 years. And since I stopped, I just didn't care about food as much. I would eat and then I'd be full, and that's the end of the story. But yeah, we still eat out quite a bit. Like if we're doing groceries, we'll get lunch in the food court. Sometimes we'll go have dinner, especially if it's a special occasion. But it's not something I lose sleep over. Before I would literally constantly check the menu, the restaurant, to make sure I was going to order the right thing. Now I just go in and order straight off the menu in store. How crazy is that? So this is my lunch, and usually I'll have some protein or something with it, but I'm feeling extra lazy in the food department today. So rice and eggplant it is. I know it looks so weird and boring and kind of sus, but I promise you it's delicious.
Fading nights of yesterday, echoes in my mind they play. City streets so far away, golden hues of times that sway. Neon signs and endless nights.
Recently, I got this cutting machine for a specific purpose. Anyway, long story short, I don't use it for that reason. I've been using it to make shirt designs. So I just drew this quickly and then I will airdrop it to my Mac, open it in Inkscape so I can convert it to an SVG file. Inkscape is an open source program, so it's free, but it is pretty glitchy, at least it has been lately. I will draw my image in Procreate like I've done here. Then I airdrop it to my Mac, drag it into Inkscape, adjust it so it fits on the canvas properly. And then I select, see that's how glitchy it is, you have to double click some things on here. Make sure you have the image selected, then go up to path, trace bitmap. You can of course adjust the parameters here depending on how many colors you want to show, how smooth you want the corners, etc. And then I just click apply, and then if you see here I can delete the image, and what we have is a bunch of nodes, so you can adjust them, but I don't need to adjust anything. I think it looks pretty good for my poor drawing skills anyway. And then I just save it as an SVG file and I can open it in my cutting machine studio. I mean, yeah, it's not perfect. I just drew it up quickly. Nothing's straight, nothing's even, but I'll just say I'm going for that hand-drawn artesian look. I think it's more charming. And in case you're wondering what cutting machine I have a Juliet Siser, I don't know how you say it. I chose this over Cricut or Cameo because it's fast and quiet, and I heard there are a lot of problems with Cricut, so I just skipped all the beginner machines and went straight for this one. Because I'm using Siser, I will open Leonardo Design Studio, and then it usually comes up with editable artwork when you import something, but I don't need to edit it, so I'm just going to go cut only and then draw solid fills so I can see better what I'm doing, and that's it. Depending on how big I want it, I will adjust it to the cutting mat. And now I will add my text in here just because it comes out better when you add it in the cutting machine program. And that's pretty much the design I'm going for, just simple retro kind of look. I'm thinking about changing this font, it's not really doing it for me. But the funny thing about this design is that I have been thinking of it for a while, and I never got around to doing it, and I decided to do it today. And the topic of this vlog is pretty relevant to this design, I would say. I always make shirts for other people, but I've hardly ever made any for myself. This one and a botched one I did a while ago. I'm thinking of using an actual woman's shirt, which I just got from Kmart Australia, because I'm sick of wearing men's shirts. They're so boxy and unflattering, and they make me feel like a 10-year-old boy. So I have this simple women's top, and it has a curved hem at the bottom, which I think is nice. It wasn't expensive, so if I stuff this up, it's not really a big loss. But I'm thinking of putting the small one on the front and then just a big one on the back. These are the ones I have to choose from. I think I'll go with this pale blue by Siser. I'd say the hardest part is lining it up so it's straight on the cutting mat. The vinyl is all loaded into the machine, and now all I have to do is send it to the cutter and cut it. Duh. Another thing I should mention is do not forget to mirror your design, because I've done that a couple of times, and vinyl is not something you just want to throw away because it's pretty expensive. And there she goes. How cute is it? It's like a little robot cutting everything out. That's exactly what it is, isn't it? I'm done with the cutting machine. All I have to do is weed out all of the excess vinyl. And I keep all these scrap bits in case I want to do little designs on stuff. Weeding is probably the most time consuming part. And if you have a lot of text, you have to do it carefully because sometimes it rips the text up. But this vinyl is the Siser brand, which is generally pretty good. And to make sure that you weed the correct parts, it's easiest to go from the outside in. There's been a lot of times I didn't do this technique because I was impatient, and I ended up ripping off the main parts of the design. have the final weeded product. Everything's been weeded out, so now we can press the shirt. And I usually just do this on the floor because it's the flattest surface I have with nothing on it. It is recommended to press the garment first, remove any moisture that might be in it, and also to give you a flat surface to work with. I don't have any measuring tools for shirt making because I just do this as a hobby. So I pretty much just guess where everything goes and just try and line it up as best as I can. I think that is looking pretty good. If I was selling these, I'd make way more effort, but I just do this for fun because I don't already have enough hobbies as it is. I press it on the floor so I can just put my whole weight on there. And now for the fun part, to see if I pressed it properly. Usually I haven't, and half of it's still stuck to the carrier sheet, but this one's actually coming off nicely. Wow. Okay, I didn't do that properly. So we'll repress that part. Pretty good, but I have this Teflon sheet that I bought from AliExpress, and I think it's for baking, but I use it to repress all the designs onto the shirt. I just go over them one more time just to make sure it's adhered to the fabric properly. And now we're onto the front. I have a feeling this isn't straight, but I'm not entering it into any clothing contests or anything. And you need to press it until your arms are shaking if you're using one of these manual presses. And here's the front. As you can see, it's missing one of those little lines on the front of the church, but I don't think I've ever made a shirt without a mistake yet, so to be continued. Anyway guys, here is the finished product, and it actually feels so nice to wear a shirt that was actually made for the woman's body and not a baggy old men's tee. So besides that little part at the front where I missed the line, pretty happy with it. It's comfy and I made it myself. I recently bought a sour cherry syrup because I finished my tart cherry juice, and a syrup just seems like it's going to taste nicer, so I thought I would try and make a matcha again. Sorry for the repetitive content. I'm using this matcha still because this is the only decent matcha I can find in stores anyway. And I'm going to try and do a microfoam matcha just because I think it will sit on top of the drink better, but I don't know. And I know people measure these things out, but I don't have time for that. Also, this matcha is wildly inconsistent. Sometimes it's green and sometimes it's not. I guess it's still green. Sometimes it's like an olive green colour. And I understand that the reason it probably doesn't turn out the way I want it to is because I don't measure anything. But we're past that now. I honestly think it's giving me carpal tunnel. I've given up on the microphone. I've got light milk from Aldi because this is all I could find. I don't really like drinking milk, so I don't know why I'm making this. And then the cherry syrup. That seems like... doesn't seem like it's going to go together. And that smells like cough medicine. Oh, I can't believe that worked. I actually stayed separated. But will it taste good is the important thing. It's okay. So that's actually nice. So try cherry syrup and not coconut water with matcha. You know that saying, no man is an island unto himself? Well, I'm starting to suspect that it also applies to women and introverts. There is this verse in Proverbs, chapter 27, verse 17. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. That sounds useful. It also sounds loud, uncomfortable, and mildly abrasive, yet very necessary. Even Jesus, who could literally do anything, chose to walk life with other people. He could have chosen to pray in silence, heal secretly, and handle betrayal solo, but he let other people in as messy and flawed as they are. And I've spent a long time assuming my faith could grow in a vacuum, but growth needs friction and grace needs witnesses, and apparently sanctification involves other people. And there's that inconvenient truth I keep bumping into. We weren't actually made to handle everything solo. Jesus himself chose community, friendship, support. And if the Son of God didn't insist on solo mode, maybe my introvert logic needs a reality check. There's this other verse in the Bible. Well, there's lots of them, you know that. But in Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 to 10, it says that two are better than one, because when one falls down, the other can help them up. Which is great, except for when you're an introvert and falling down seems preferable to social interaction. But jokes aside, God made us to need each other, even when needing each other means small talk. Don't worry, the irony is not lost on me. If you're an introverted Christian watching this, you probably get it. Community sounds exhausting. Asking for help? Terrifying. But maybe, just maybe, we weren't meant to do this alone. Even islands are secretly connected under the water. So if you're quietly nodding along, maybe even smirking, then hit subscribe, because we were clearly meant to be friends. Or at least neighbors on neighboring islands. My violin teacher moved away a while ago, more than a year ago now, so I haven't really been motivated to practice ever, because I feel like I have nothing to work towards now. I'm gonna put the mute on just to soften the blow to my ego, because I know I'm gonna sound terrible.